Good evening and warm welcome to another edition of the All Arsenal Review Show. Tonight I have the gentleman Ryan next to me. So foremost, before I say welcome to Ryan, just obviously thank you for everyone obviously who's joined in to the channel tonight and who will be joining in later. Good evening, Ryan. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Get the women obviously got their all but qualified in the next round for the next round of the Champions League. Girls are back playing. Renee's got a full-time job. All good. So, well, I say all good, but there's little niggles here and there. But yeah, outside of that, all good.
Yeah, I know we're going to go on and discuss obviously the women's team later, but obviously the big news was obviously the back end of last week that obviously Renee had been given the job. You happy with the decision of the recruitment of the manager?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. At the first, when she was first given the interim job, I thought I weren't sure because obviously she was the assistant to Jonas. I thought it'd be a bit too close to the mark for certain players, but clearly not. Clearly, it's Jonas. It's just Jonas being Jonas and not listening to his staff by the looks of it. Because she's come in, the football's better, the girls are happier, the fans are happier, and we've got results. Touch wood, we haven't lost so far in all competitions. So can't really complain, really. So yeah, good. As the short term was, I think it's like a year and a half up to the end of next season, and obviously in between then they'll reassess and see how they go. But yeah, it makes sense because it got to a point of how long Arsenal were taking. If they appointed anyone else, it would have been insane. Because as I say, we were unbeaten. The girls were happy. The fans were back on board. But yeah.
Yeah, like you said, like they are back on board. We're unbeaten. It took a strong decision, obviously, to bring someone else in. But as you said, like the job she's done in terms of both the league and the Champions League, I think it's pretty outrageous, really. Like, let's be honest, we all thought they were pretty much good as over, didn't we, in the Champions League after that battering in Munich. So, an absolutely incredible job. I think she deserves the role, and hopefully she can get a brilliant result on Sunday as well, which we'll talk about later against the Chelsea. Anyway, less of that for the moment being. We're going to go into the men's side of the game. There's been quite a few games since we got last been on because there's been a lot of stuff going on in the background, but we're going to do a bit of an overall review in terms of obviously probably the last 3 or 4 games. So yeah, obviously it's been a really tough time, isn't it, Ryan, in terms of coming out of that Brighton game. We lost one Airy to injury. Already lost Saka. Calafiori then was obviously another player that we lost. Again, we lost William Saliba for a couple of weeks now. It's been a bit of an emotional coaster of a ride the last 2-3 weeks, I'd say. Obviously, the disappointment of going out of the FA Cup on the penalty shootouts, which any other given day we'd probably beat Man United 5-1 that game. At the very least. The Newcastle game where I thought was very disappointing. But yet again, if we'd taken the lead when we had the opportunities in the first half, the game would have been totally different. But kind of sailed out in the second half. And then we got that win against Tottenham, which, in all fairness, I thought he showed good character after what happened in Newcastle and Manchester United. But what I will say is that that's got to be one of the worst Tottenham sides that I've seen for quite a long time, if I'm being totally honest. And I think we made the game tougher because of the occasion. I think if it was any other team, I think we'd have won that game 3-4-1 quite easily. And then obviously Saturday against Aston Villa, where we was in total control. Probably, I know I was disappointed with the Newcastle game and even the Manchester United game, but coming out of that game out the stadium on Saturday was probably one of the most disappointing feelings I've had since probably, if I'm being totally honest, Southampton 2 years ago.
3-3, yeah.
Yeah, 3-3. I was just totally disappointed at how we kind of gave away that lead against a team that I didn't think done absolutely anything for the last 65 minutes before that. And we was dominant apart from an 8-minute spell,
Yeah.
and we somehow drew the game. And I did have a little bit of sympathy for the players as it goes, if I'm being totally honest. Like, reflecting on it a few days later, and I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm thinking they had the Brighton game away. They then had Newcastle in their cup of semi-final. Then they had Manchester United. Then they had Spurs, and then they had Aston Villa. And there is no players to rotate, and that's been the big issue so far for me. Is that we needed to, at this point in January, have a squad to rotate to be able to get through these fixtures, whether they're home or away. And if we're being honest, mate, there's no squad.
We're literally on a bare bones of youth now.
And we looked at last night, and we made a couple of changes. We brought Kibior in and Zinchenko in, which I kind of expected, to be honest. But apart from that, and Jorginho and Sterling, sorry, but there was no one else on the right anyway. We've had to play the same team literally over and over again. So it was really hard to take the pill on Saturday against Aston Villa, but kind of got it in some ways. I kind of got it that, do you know what? Actually, this team, he's probably had to overburden this team over the last 2.5 weeks, and they've had to play a lot of games against a lot of high-profile sides, a lot of rivalry games as well. Let's be honest, Newcastle see us as a rival now, whether we are or not. They see us as a rival. Manchester United have always been a rival. Spurs have always been a rival. Aston Villa have been up and coming, do you know what I mean, the last few years, got some decent results against us. I think it's been quite a tricky time for the players.
It has, and again, rivals not what when I was talking about it, but the injuries to Saka, and then 2 weeks later, Jesus, Wanyeri, Ricardo. I've said it time and time again on here. We do the watch longs. He's slowly becoming already. His short stint here, the Italian version of Tomiyasu. The guy is constantly injured in muscles. It's like seriously. Then we had 2.5 months of no other guard at one point. We had Mikel Merino arrive, first training session, get taken out for 2-3 weeks or whatever it was. So we've not had a settled squad all season in terms of lack of injuries. And it seems game by game, day by day, another one's going down. I mean, there's rumours from last night that the reason why Miles Lewis Skelly, one of our bright sparks from this season, actually, picked up a knock the day before in training, and as a precaution that they give him the night off. Basically, they don't want to risk anything and then cause it. And that says it all, really. But literally, it's so bad in terms of. And I want to know what is going on in terms of making it, why there's so many. It's not just us. The knuckle draggers down the road. Chelsea have had a few. The only team in the Premier League that hasn't had a scared to the level. They've had a couple injuries this season, but nothing major. Is Liverpool. So it hasn't really affected, hence why they are doing what they're doing, because they've got a settled team threat. We not have it, especially in the winter period. And you add on the fact we've got a new Champions League format, so there's Champions League games going into this month as well, as we knew. So we're not even getting the respite like we would do in years gone by, because by now Champions League group stage would have been done. We're waiting for next month to get up and running again. So we're not even getting the respite from Europe, and we're running the squad into the ground. And at one point we had 4 left backs on the bench in the last few weeks. 4 out of our 7 options. We've got a goalkeeper we don't even use that we brought in as a panic and then just went, oh, we're not going to use him. Okay. And he's still, somehow, for some reason, still here. What's frustrating for me is it took for Jesus to do his ACL for the club and Arteta to go from that point onwards. We need to sign a striker. We need to sign an attacker or whatever. But when we lost Saka and others, and we've had the crosses we've had all season with injuries, Saka wasn't a kick up the backside. It was Jesus getting the ACL, and it was like, really? Because it was even before Jesus got injured, we were there screaming, we need more, because we are, even then, we're on the bare bones of our attack. You're putting too much emphasis then, even before Jesus got injured, on your Havertz, on the Martinelli, on Trossard, and Trossard's not been at it. Martinelli's still not at it. It's just been an absolute choke, really. And hence why we're getting the results what we're getting, and that's why, in hindsight, like you say, against Aston Villa, we did drop the lead when we did, because I watched the watch long, and I was like, And I'm sitting there and I'm like, they've done nothing. They've not laid a glove. And then bang, 2-1. And then again, 2-2. But it was from nothing. And then they went quiet again. And it's just like, and as much as we can kick up a fuss about the goal that got disallowed at the end, we should never been put in that position in the first place. But because of the injuries and the depth of the squad of what the bare bones we are in, it was always going to happen because we're playing too many square pegs in round holes. And that's another thing I've got to pull up with Arteta, like with the right back situation. Why playing our best CDM in he's got 32, 33, how old he is, as a right back. And he hasn't played that position consistently since his Atletico days. He's played it once in a blue moon at Arsenal, but every time he has played at Arsenal as a right back, we don't do well. It's like, if we can see it, we know this. Why is he so persistent? Why won't you give a youngster a chance, for example? Just rotate if you have to. Put Timber at right back until Ben White is back. Cool. We work with something. We had Kivior, and until last night we didn't see Kivior against Villa. And I'm like, well, you could have put Kivior. You could have done what you did last night, basically.
Yeah.
Kivior and Gabriel, and had Timber at right back. And it wouldn't be great because obviously Kivior's a left back. They both got left-footed centre backs, but it's something. At least there's both centre backs. But maybe the Villa result and how it went down and reason why them goals happened. Maybe that was the hopefully an awakening to Arteta to say, I actually need to use certain players as well. We've seen Tierney being used. It's to that point where we all thought Tierney wasn't going to be used anymore. Suddenly he's been used quite frequently since the new year. But am I disappointed? Yes, because obviously we can't be dropped. We said after the when was it? I can't think what it was now. That was now back in December.
Brighton game?
No, back in December, start of December, basically. After Newcastle. Might have been after the Newcastle away game. And I said we were at the point where we couldn't afford to drop points, but we had a run of games, and we all sat here and said between then and the North London derby, well, actually even Man City, we can actually win. We can go on a run. If we get a head out, obviously in hindsight of injury, but if we get our head out of backsides, we can put a run together. And we've not really done that. It's like, and thankfully Liverpool in the process have dropped a few points here and there, but nothing to even be happy about because obviously it's still 6 points of a game in hand, and it's like it would be 4. That's the more annoying thing from this recently. It would have been 4 points close, clear. There would have been 4 points clear of us, but with games they've got coming up, you could see us closing it. But now it's like the confidence in the squad is. We watched the game last night. It wasn't the most enthralling game at all, was it? That's how bad the game's in.
It was a boring game, wasn't it? But I don't blame the players for that whatsoever. No. I don't blame the players. Like, I think they look at this game and they think it's a hindrance. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are we playing? I continue to say, why are we playing Champions League games in January? Like, it's greed. It's absolute greed. But what the problem it's doing is, it's putting teams further at risk. It's putting players further at risk. All for an extra few £1 million, and you look around our squad. You see what he had yesterday, and you knew that he could only make 2 or 3 changes, which he did. And I do feel sorry for the players a little bit because they were not supported in terms of the summer, in terms of the transfers that we should have made. Do you know what I mean? And yes, it is unfortunate. Do you know what? For 6 months down the line, if you knew you had Lewis Skelly playing left back, you probably would have brought Calabori, if I'm being totally honest. But I think actually Calabori will end up being a really good player for us, and I think he will end up being a good signing. And I think Marino as well. I think the problem with Marino is that if you had brought him in with a Subamendi and with a striker already here, I think he could have settled into the squad a little bit better. I know that the injury didn't help him. And he is going to be a squad player, if we're being totally honest here. I don't see him being a first-team star. He probably would have been a good signing, but when you sit here back in May last year and you've missed out on the title by a defeat to Aston Villa, and you sit there and you discuss what you need in the summer to take us to the next step, there was nothing about a left back being brought into the club. Okay, we knew we had to get a goalkeeper. Everyone knew we needed to get a goalkeeper. Everyone and the granny knew that Ramsdale was going to be leaving the club, but somehow we left it to the final day of the transfer window to get a guy in on loan who was originally Carabao Cup tied. And you just look at that business and you look at what the Raheem Sterling saga and you look at Neto and you just sit there and think, are we surprised that we're not really contending for the title? Yeah, we're second place, but we're nowhere near the level of consistency at the moment, even to breathe the opportunity of thinking about overtaking Liverpool. We need a big Liverpool collapse. And then for us at the same time to basically win a lot of games in a row. Do I feel comfortable at the moment that we can go and win games in a row? Probably not, mate, if I'm being totally honest. We drew 0-0 to Everton at home.
Yeah.
We drew 0-0 to Everton at home. Like, this is the same Everton that was sacked Sean Dyche. Do you know what I mean? We squandered a 2-0 lead against Aston Villa. We squandered a lead against Brighton, which we were so comfortable in the first half.
Yeah.
So you start looking, and the Ipswich game was very unappeasing, like 1-0, but Jesus Christ, yet again, it was such a boring game of football. Manchester United at home, even 2 set pieces. Apart from that, we couldn't hit the barn door. Newcastle away again, caught with our pants down once again in the exact same performance as last year.
Yeah.
Let them score, and then I had no idea how to break them down, just like the Carabao Cup. So so in a lot of ways, we didn't get supported in the summer in terms of the players we got, but I don't think at times we learn lessons quick enough. And I feel that we come a cropper with the same situations like the Newcastle away. Do you know what I mean? Where we're failed to score. Like Aston Villa for me is a big blow this year. Like to be 2-0 up in that game and to drop that back to 2-2. Now, it's all debatable about the Havertz goal. But when your luck's down, your luck's down.
Mm.
You look at the Chelsea game. Should have won that in the last minute. Trossard misses a sitter. Do you know what I mean? And to be fair, I know Trossard was offside at the end on Saturday night in the last few seconds of the game, but he still missed the target.
Yeah,
he still missed the target.
And he had another opportunity even after that. He could have put it on the other side because the goalkeeper's at the near post. He could have put it far post in to pass it. All you do, he hits at the goalkeeper, and I'm just like, really.
But it's these kind of things, and we get people going, yeah, really good game Saturday, really good game, and yeah, he did have a really good game Saturday. But when we needed that magical moment for him, like the Chelsea game, like the Aston Villa on Saturday, it's just missing, isn't it? Mm. And you look, our luck is down a little bit with the Havertz. That you got the Havertz against Liverpool as well. Mm. Do you know what I mean? That goal got disallowed in the 88th minute. We got this goal disallowed. What's the other game? The Fulham goal where Martinelli's offside.
Yeah.
And these are the things that were going for us last year and building momentum. Yeah. They were building like Luton. We all joke about Luton, how that game ended up on stream. But them games went for us last year. They built momentum. This year, I just think we continue to get blow after blow after blow. All started with the red cards. There was a trail of them. And then I just think with injuries and just big misses, it is literally big. Like how many times are we sitting here listening to Arteta say, I don't know how we didn't win that game. We should have won that game easy. It's a common theme. If you haven't got the players to put the ball in the back of the net, you haven't got the players to take us to the next step. You haven't got the players at the moment to win us the title. You haven't got the players that I think to win us the Champions League at the moment. And the only way you're going to do that is by getting these players in and making the right signings now. Like we don't need fullbacks. All right, the right back situation is a bit crap at the moment because of Ben White. But if Ben White comes back, that solves that situation. Do you know what I mean? Tomiyasu is Tomiyasu. For me, he has to go out the door. Like there is 0 point now. There's 0 point of him being there. How good of a utility player he can be when he's fit. But I just look at this squad now, and I think even if you get a striker in now, and they probably will get a striker, is it going to make a massive difference now? Yeah, it probably gets more points at the end of the season, but I think it's too long gone now. I think there's been too many slip-ups in too many games, and it's a shame because we started this season so positively, and I'll tell you when it went downhill. It went downhill at Man City. When that red card was given to Trossard, it changed the whole complexion of our season.
Yeah.
It changed the whole complexion of our season. If we go out that second pitch on the second half with 11 men, I'm telling you now, we beat them 4-1.
Yeah.
That they had no answer. We'd have done it on a set piece again without a shadow of a doubt. Do you know what I mean? That moment, Trossard got sent off, for me, was a critical moment of the season.
Yeah, looking back at it now, literally, because looking back, obviously Ben White came on, sacrificed Saka, and as we know, we just sat back and let them come at us. And we all imagine what if, and we got a point out of it, but imagine what would have happened. We're sitting there saying this is a game changer, but it would be even more of a game changer if he'd got a win out of it. It would have doubled down even more, and it made it even more defensive as we've seen. And it's just, yeah, literally going. That's what September that happened.
Yeah,
so
it's unbelievable that we're calling that a critical moment of the season, but for me, it's a critical moment because we'd already gone to Aston Villa and won. We'd already gone to Spurs and won.
Yeah,
the Brighton game is the Brighton game at home. Do you know what I mean? Another red card.
Beating Wolves as well at home.
Beating Wolves, but if we'd gone to Man City and seen that out, then
confidence would have been massive.
Would have been absolutely mad. And do you know what? That coming out of that game affected both teams. Because I always look at games like that. It was too early on in the season for what happened after the game as well. Do you know what I mean? It was too early on in the season, and there wasn't a winner out of it. If there was a winner out of it, like you said, if we'd gone and won it and it all kicked off like Haaland did, I think we'd have gone out there, got back on that bus like really, really confident in ourselves. But they couldn't be confident because they just literally struggled to draw against a 10-man Arsenal at home. But we come out of that game, I think, in terms of being distraught in terms of we didn't see that game out. You're talking the 98th minute, mate. Like we were celebrating when it was embarrassing for me a little bit when it happened. When Raya caught that ball in the 96th minute, William Saliba and Gabriel are celebrating. Within a minute, they've scored. Like I always remember that day thinking, do you know what? In that kind of game, you don't do that. Do you know what I mean?
You wait till the final whistle goes.
You wait till the full-time whistle. And that's probably just a little bit of immaturity still between obviously the pair, because otherwise they've been our best players this season, especially Gabriel. But I just think sometimes that mentality, they could just do a little bit more at times in that team. I think we still lack someone who's gone there, done it, and pulled the team through into that, into winning trophies. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at the players that we've got, and you sit there and think, we need that ingredient. We need that winner. We need a winner at times.
Yeah.
And I guess my question to you is, who is the player that you want Arsenal to bring in to play up front? Because it's quite easy just to bring a player in January, but if it's not the right fit, then absolutely it causes a big issue going into the summer. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, isn't it?
It is. It really is. January's always a hard one, but I've Saturday spoke about 4 options. One of them plays for Newcastle, and obviously he's the dream one because obviously he's Premier League proven. He doesn't need time to adapt. But however, he's playing for a rival, so to speak, in Newcastle. They've got the bit between their teeth. If they get a Champions League football, he's not going to want to go. He ain't going to want to go now. If they're struggling, maybe we'd have a leg stand up, but they've picked up a bit of form recently. Yeah, so that's that sort of deal would have to wait till the summer and see the landlines come into the season where they are in Europe or not. And also the money as well, 150. Would Arsenal lay that sort of money out on one player? I know they did for Declan, but they did that over a payment plan eventually when they agreed the fee. With Newcastle, because Newcastle, their owners, what they are, they don't need to do the payment. They can literally demand it, knowing they don't need the money really. The others is really Gorkales. I mean, Sesko's been. I mean, I won't be against Sesko from what I've seen of him. He makes sense. He'll fit the system of what we want. He's big. He's jumped, by the way. When crosses we put in that box, his jump is insane. Like, I've not seen a player jump like that forward wise since Cristiano in terms of the leap, in terms of height they get in the leap. But so I can get that. I think we'll go. I think one way or the other, either this window or the summer, Sesko will be an Arsenal player, one way or the other, in the next few months. But I've said we need 2. I think we need to get one in now, and a main and a proven seasoned striker. That's like killer now. For me, Gorkales. If you're not going to get Isaac, you can't get Isaac for whatever reason. Gorkales. We saw him against Lisbon. I know he's not Premier League proven, But we've seen him for Lisbon against us, even when they were getting back, it's 3, 4, 5, 5-1 respectively. Even you've said we got back over that game. He never gave up. He was still getting stuck into both Gabriel and Saliba, asking the questions physically and from the pace side of things as well. And he can mix it up. And I think something like him and Sesko are coming together, respectively at the club, and Sesko was to learn off him for the next 18 months and then use that learning curve to push him out, basically, make yourself the main man. That could even make Sesko, but we need a killer. We need our modern day Henry, because simple as that, really. That one man that you get the ball to, you know he's scoring no matter what. 9 times out of 10, that ball's going in the net. We need that. We can't win a league title with one attacker full stop, let alone as a false 9 in the modern day. Anyway,
I'll tell you what does really interest me is this weekend, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm saying this. Like, we got Wolves at the Molineux on Saturday at 3 p.m. I'm be interested what happens with Cunha on Saturday.
Same.
Because if he doesn't play that game, which, let's be honest, there's a bit of talk about him, isn't there, in terms of obviously he's been linked with us. If he's had his head turned, I think we're going to know by Saturday, because I think there's a risk that he don't play that game on Saturday. I think there's a big risk for Wolves that he don't play that game Saturday. You've already heard what the manager's come out and said to him. He understands it, but if it happens again, he won't understand it. If Cunha is dreaming about coming to Arsenal, surely that manipulates his mind, knowing that Arsenal are potentially still in the title race.
No, exactly. Now, this is the thing, because obviously a few weeks ago with Cunha, Matheus Cunha, you had Fabrizio and all the media out there saying he'd agreed verbally a new contract extension with Wolves, this, that, and the other. And the rumours since then have been that his head's been turned, because it's been since then that Arsenal have been actively contacting him and his people to say that don't do that, please. We are interested. We do want to sign you as long as you want to come to us. And that's what's turned his head. And obviously, given any player, let's be honest, any player's got the option that's playing for, with all due respect to Wolverhampton and their fans, that's playing for Wolves in a relegation scrap, and their best player's got an option of a team that's in Champions League this season, so he'll come in and play Champions League for the rest of this season, how long we're in it, and going forward into next, but also in the title race.
It is my interesting point about this guy, right? And this is why I want to put this point to you. I think at this moment in time, he's the favourite, in my opinion, in my eyes, that we'll go out and buy in January.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because, and I think I said it to you last night, he's not a player that just plays up front. He can play in the Odegaard role, he can play on the wing, and he can play up front. Now, that sorts us out a big issue in terms of the summer, because if we can't go out and get our primary target, which is either an Isak or a Sesko or a Gyökeres, if we can't get that player, which most teams wouldn't be able to get that player in January, he would make sense, because actually we need someone who can play on the wing to cover when Saka's not there. We need someone to potentially go in that Odegaard role. Maybe he thinks that potentially one area he could kind of cover on the right-hand side as well, where his performances. I think if we can't go and buy that main striker now, I think Cunha for me
would make sense.
It makes absolute sense here, him coming to the club, because do you know what? It won't naturally affect the progression of us actually buying a striker at the end of it all. Because as I said, you can play the geezer central up front, you can play him as a second striker, you can put him in the Odegaard role, and you can put him on the right wing as well. So I think it's a no-brainer. Because I don't see, and I hope I'm wrong, I would rather say, obviously I'm like you, if we get Isak through the door, then it'd be all day long. Do I think we can get Isak? Absolutely. Absolutely not a chance. I don't think we can get Isak. Like you said, Newcastle don't need to sell. They could be getting into Champions League football themselves next year.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to break the bank to get this geezer in. 150 million, I reckon, would be a price that you'll be looking roughly nearly around. So I look at it and I think if you can't get Isak, then for me, I like Gyökeres. As I said, we watched that game. he impressed me. He didn't stop battling. He gave Gabriel good going over in terms of giving him a game. Could you imagine him up front? Could you imagine set pieces when you got all that, and then you got good goal carriers as well in the box? Jesus, that'd be something.
He's got patience. He's got, as we said again, he runs. He's not just a big unit in the air. He can run.
Yeah,
so he can run. He can run between the defenses, run between the lines, and even ask questions on the floor of the defence. We've not had that. We haven't had a striker or an attacker like that. That sort of has a whole package, really, for a while now. Let's be brutally honest.
No. Well, I would say the last all-round striker that we had in this club, and I'm going to bypass Giroud because I don't think he scored us the goals that we needed at times to take us to that next step, was Van Persie.
Van Persie, yeah.
It would be Van Persie. Do you know what I mean? That's probably the last top. Like Aubameyang was good for a season or two. Do you know what I mean? But there was things that Aubameyang didn't have in his locker. Do you know what I mean? At times there was things that Aubameyang didn't have that would say to me that I'm going to put you on the Van Persie level or the Thierry Henry level. Do you know what I mean? Or the Ian Wright level. And we're saying these players like your Thierry Henrys, your Robin Van Persies, your Ian Wright. Pardon?
I'd even throw in Eduardo Sally as well.
Well, yeah, till he got injured, he was an absolute wonderful player. Absolute wonderful player. But we've been starved of a striker. This team's been starved of a striker. The squad is starved of a striker. Like, they must be sitting there each week. Like, yeah, they'll probably love players like Havertz, like what work he does. But at the end of the day, do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's still a big role for Havertz in this club and his team. By the way, it's not that I don't think there's not a role for him. I think there's a big role for him.
Yeah.
But this is Arsenal Football Club, and people might go, "Oh, he's been a bit arrogant." Well, no, I'm not being arrogant. I've lived through the eras of the Dennis Bergkamps, the Ian Wrights, the Thierry Henrys, the Robin Van Persies. Do you know what I mean? These are absolute top strikers. Top strikers. And you look at this team now and you sit here and think, if this team had a Robin Van Persie in their team, the league would be done.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
The league would be done, mate.
Because what we say about Van Persie, it's good of his feet to the ball to feet, brilliant, but it also had the aerial bit. If a ball came in, he could head it as well.
Yeah.
And that's what again, as I say, we have not had that. Giroud was good in the air, aerial bitly, but he's brought the feet in terms of, apart from hold up play, okay, cool. But in terms of actually brought the feet running towards goal, he wasn't that sort of striker.
No.
But yeah, it does make sense, and he, as I say, because he's good with his feet, ball to his feet, running at defensive, and it asks questions. And again, opponents and rival managers and fans will be asked when obviously if we were to get Gorkres or someone of that ilk, they're thinking how's our even the Liverpool fans and City fans next to you will be like, how's our defence? If he clicks in, how are we going to cope? And that's what we've had to. From our point of view, we've been asking that question about Haaland since he arrived. But thankfully, we've had Saliba and Gabriel that have actually in the last couple of years been able to team up on him.
Yeah,
but not every club in the league's got a Gabriel Saliba partnership of that ilk in terms of the quality and that can deal with a Gorkales or a Haaland, etc. Or an Isaac and this, that, and the other, in a certain system of world-class players in and around. And that is a tipping point. We said this again back in the last season when we lost the league title to Everton, lost the league title by a point to Man City, that if we had a striker, that was a difference. Clearly, it was a difference. It sort of reminded me when Man City won their first league title in 2012. It was on goal difference. What did Man United do?
Going by the best striker in the Premier League.
Literally, go and get. They didn't care. And obviously, we didn't either. Sending him to them, they didn't care what it would cost or whatever. They just went and got him, and they walked the league the following season. They literally walked from day one all the way to the bit of end to the league title. And that's similar to us, but we haven't done. The difference is we didn't act on it quick enough. If we'd acted, it'd be different. Yeah.
Do you think that though that we're whether it's right or wrong, that we've got a target, we've got a profile player, and they weren't available last year for whatever reason, and we're not going to go out that profile player to get that striker.
I understand. In terms of Sesko, I understand the last minute U-turn from him to basically thank obviously Leipzig, give him another year at least to get someone else to replace him. And in the meantime, make sure they had the financial security. They weren't going to lose out on him. I get that, but we must have had another option. You'd like to think we had another option. Why wasn't we actively going for that other one as well? Because again, I think I keep saying this. We need more than just a Havertz and another striker. We need Havertz, another striker, and another striker. You need multiple options, really. I know the modern thing is one striker up top and all that, and I get that. That's cool, but you need rotation because look at this season. We mentioned injuries in this podcast. It'd be our luck. We do the Havertz and one striker thing next season, and they both get injured, and then we're doing the false nine stuff with Trossard and all that.
Well, this is the question to you. Like, if we went and bought Cunha for transfer deadline, yeah. Then bring Sesko and Subimendi in the summer.
Yeah.
Where do you see us then?
If we do that, and if we actually get it done early before the pre-season gets underway, I think we'll be, as long as our striker, be it Sesko or Gorkales or whoever that striker may be, comes in and hits the ground running. As I say, we need to get the striker in ASAP because obviously give them the pre-season to adapt to the new system and all that. I think we'll be in a great position to actually get over the line. This is what I'm saying. We need the striker. That is the difference, and it's fantastic that in terms of Zubimendi, assuming it doesn't between now and then he doesn't have a U-turn and decide to stay put for another year. No, Sociedad. And it actually goes. It still actually happens. It shows that they're being proactive in that sense. That they know Partey and Jorginho are coming to the end, and obviously respectively going, and they're already looking to bring in someone for the future in a Zubimendi. So that I think Zubimendi, Declan, Odegaard midfield would be mental. By the way, that'd be insane. Arguably, if Zubimendi settles in quick enough. Potentially maybe the strongest midfield and best midfield in the league next season. But you need a striker. If we get the striker in and he settles in, I don't see why we can't win the league next season comfortably. Not even just about by the last game of the season or anything like that, but like 2 or 3 games to spare. And we can actually, as a fan base as well, enjoy the last few games before we lift that title. It is so close now. It's not like it's been like 4 or 5 players in, and that we are literally just that one player. And obviously with Cunha, you say because he's versatile, you can if you have a Havertz and a striker injured, and who the striker may be injured, he can play that full. He can play up top himself. He knows the league, so he knows what's expected in terms of the physical demands of the league, basically.
Yeah, no, I do find it I do find this transfer window quite intriguing in terms of what we can do. I don't see us being able to get Sesko out of his contract in January. Personally, I think my personal opinion is, I think Sesko is the man they want. I think that's the player they've identified. I think Subimendi is going to be an absolute fantastic signing. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them where I can't really celebrate now because I'm worried about is this season. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, and trying to get over the line and try and overturn that Newcastle deficit, which is going to be very hard. But I don't think it's something that we could go up there and think, oh, it can't happen, because it definitely can happen if things go for us in the evening. But I look at what we can do in January, and I think we will bring 2 players in. I do think we'll bring 2 players in. What 2 players, I don't really know at the moment, but I do think this Cunha one, there's a lot of talk at the moment, and I could see the reason why we'd bring him in and why he would fit quite a number of positions, and it wouldn't actually affect the striking situation, and it would just give us more resource next year in terms of what options. Because can you imagine next year if you brought a Kasesko in and you had a Havertz there and you had a Cunha there? Do you know what I mean? You've got Saka, you've got Martinelli, you've got. I'm not sure. I'm not sure in terms of the Trossard situation at the moment whether he will be. I think that he could potentially go next year. I think left wing is still an upgrade, but when I start looking at other positions and I sit there and I think, I've always said, like, obviously I think we need a left winger, because the Martinelli situation, and I look at Martinelli, so like last night, fantastic ball in. Why can't you do that game after game? That was a Saka-esque ball last night. And you're like, why can't you do that every game? Because you've got the ability to do that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I think he needs proper competition, Martinelli. I think he needs serious competition.
Yeah.
Trossard's not really serious competition. If we're being so left wing is a position, but I think at the moment it's probably the last position you'd look at if you was looking at the striker situation, the right wing, and you was looking at potentially that one more midfielder in the attacking midfield sense. So we just need to get the right player in at the moment, and I don't think we can get the player that we want in. But I think we can do some business in terms of getting a really good player in who might help us contribute in terms of a strong end of the season. And then in the summer, get the real killer players in that are going to take us to that next level. Because Mendy is going to take us to the next level. Mendy is going to own that position. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, him, Dex, and Odegaard, with Mourinho being the squad cover. And then you've got one Airy, do you know what I mean, who can sit there and play as well. That's serious footballers. That's it. That's a serious midfield. And if you get the striker in as well, you've got a serious forward line. You've got Saka. You've got the striker. You've still got Martinelli, and to be fair, Martinelli's got a proper striker up there. His game might revolve differently as well and be totally different.
If he's actually got now, as you say, that a striker basically is in the box, knows where to be, reads him like a book in terms of being in the position where that ball's coming.
Because we don't attack the ball, mate. How many times do we get to the byline and there's one player in the box, but we're not attacking the areas that we need to attack? And that is what we need. We need a striker who's going to get in there. And do you know what? You might see Havertz play more in midfield again. Do you know what I mean? He might revert in certain games as a secondary striker, especially late on in games. If you've got a Sesko and a Havertz up front, and you need to get a goal, you're more likely to get a goal with them two, and you're more likely to get a goal from Havertz as well. To be honest with someone up with him.
Yeah.
So I think there's some. I think it's a big 10 days. I think we'll definitely get one in. I think we need to get two in. It would be nice.
It'd help.
It would help. It would definitely help. Where we'd get that second player, I don't know.
Because as we've said with Sesko, I think if Sesko if we were to buy him now, you're paying more than what you'd be paying in the summer. So I think that's what they're holding back on because of that.
Yeah. Because how much is that more? Probably 20, 30 million more. Do you know what I mean? You're playing a premium now. Everyone knows you're playing a premium now. Everyone knows that Arsenal is a striker. So why are they not going to? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's an interesting time. I do think we need to get another player through the door. I do think as well, hopefully with Ben White coming back, that will give us options. But one position I like to see us address in the end is that we make a decision. Is Ben White a right back or right centre back? Now, in my eyes, he's a right back now.
Yeah.
Saliba needs cover.
Yeah.
I know that's not easy. I know that's really not easy. Do you know what I mean? Because it's William Saliba, but I would be looking at a really good young player to come in and potentially work underneath him.
Yeah.
Because we all know Saliba's not going to spend the whole career. He's going to end up at Real Madrid. I'm sure of it at some point. But we need to stop relying on Ben White to be covered for two positions, because as we see now, when he gets injured, our right back, we're not just affected at right back, we're affected at centre back now. And with Ben White and Saliba out, that's a really, really not a good situation to be in. Like you said last night, we're having to play a left-footed player at right centre back. Yeah. Not ideal, but at the same time, I don't really want Timber at right centre back because I don't want Partey right back. So I'd rather Timber play right back and then we play two centre backs, square pegs round holes, like you said earlier on.
Yeah.
But I do think that position needs to be looked at.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. No, it's just, and obviously this is to come down the club who they target to be that, and that player knows coming in that they are the backup, they are the protege, or they'll be playing games, but it won't be as many minutes because of it's Saliba who's your head of you basically. You've got to learn off him at the same time, and you'll get the cup games here and there, like domestically, but someone's got to be happy doing that as well, and obviously. When a sleeper gets suspended or injured, you're there to come in and slot in, and it won't be by the time that happens. You're obviously hoping there won't be that drop off.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, and I think the thing is as well, like you said, you want players to be able to come in for like League Cup games. You want players to come in for FA Cup games, and that's the time when you rest the leaver. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the time when you rest the lever. Like this should be the time when we did rest the likes of Saliba, the rest of Gabriel. Do you know what I mean? But obviously we haven't got the options yet. But I do think, especially like Tomiyasu for me, I would be definitely releasing him. And I really like Tomiyasu, but it's just in my eyes now there is no point. Zinchenko will go, Tierney will go, Kivior potentially could go as well.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, that's four defenders gone. You've got Lewis Skelly. You've got Calafiori who can play left centre back anyway.
Yeah.
You look at they can both play left back as well, but I don't want that situation then to happen with Calafiori with Ben White. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Calafiori becomes the secondary strike because I can see this happening now that Tierney will go, Zinchenko will go, Lewis Skelly. I think at the moment has the keys to that left back role. If I'm being totally honest, I think his performances totally warrant him starting games at the moment.
Yeah.
But I don't really want Calafiori to be the only option at left back and left centre back because we'll end up getting into a Ben White situation with a right back and right centre back.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that one will lead, whether we will look for another left back. But I do think Calafiori long term will end up being centre back anyway. I'm not sure what you think of that.
It depends. He needs to, again, as I mentioned earlier on, he needs to nip this injury situation in the bud basically, and otherwise he will lose. Obviously, he'll lose position, and then he'll be the backup to obviously not just Miles, but obviously Gabriel. But also got Timber. We're not mentioning Timber because obviously Timber, since he's come, Arteta seems to play mostly. We've got a fully fit squad out on the left hand side. But these are the things Arteta's got to decide this summer as well. Who's playing where going forward? Who's your first choice right back, second choice right back, etc. all across the line? You need to decide that, get that house in order, so everyone knows straight from the off before pre-season where they stand going into the season, what their position is.
Do you feel that at the moment there is no really structure to that defence in terms of who's playing where really, like the first choice, second choice, apart from obviously Gabriel and Saliba, we know their first choice. But do you feel there's not really a structure at the moment, especially with the left backs?
When we've got fully fit options. I think three of the options are secure in terms of till further notice. So we delve different. I think Ben White's his first choice right back. Because as we've seen, when he was at start of the season, when he had a fully fit squad, his thing was Ben White, right back, Timber, left back, and then we Saliba and Gabriel in the centre back roles, respectively. I think the one position is up for grabs, or has been up for grabs up to this point, is left back. But he needs to, in terms of Timber, because obviously even with Zinchenko and Tierney going in the summer potentially, you've still got a player that we signed as a right back, by the way. When he came to us, he's known as a right back, but you're playing at left back. So potentially going to still have three players that can play left back still. It's not a bad thing in terms of versatility if we have a crisis again. But going into the season, they all need to know where they stand. If he prefers Ricardo as a left back, but as a backup to Lewis Skelly, or Lewis Skelly to be the backup to Ricardo, he needs to tell them straight from the off and know where they then fight it out between them for the next year to be the number one going forward after that 12-month period. And even if he thinks Timber's a competition for Ben White, or he thinks Timber's better than Ben White, he's got to say it there as well. And then, as you say, go and get us a if that's the case, go and get us two backup, left centre back and the left right centre back side to be the backup to Gabriel and Saliba, because otherwise you're playing squarebacks and roundholes again.
And that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. Like for me, next year it's about getting the right player. I think there's some really good competition there, personally. Like I think Skelly, what happens to him longer term? Is he seen as a fullback, or is he actually seen as a centre midfielder? Because I tell you what, like you can see him playing centre midfield. I think he'll end up being a centre midfielder just because the tools that he's got in his box. Like the strength that he's got, he's
athleticism,
like he's very athletic, and I think that he will end up in centre midfield. But there's nothing wrong with learning a trade in an inverted left back role whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't say he's very fortunate, because do you know what, he's earning that position at the moment. And as I said, at this moment of time, if I'm picking a starting 11 for Arsenal, he gets in at left back every day of the week. He's been our best player. Like he'll definitely get player of the month for us at Arsenal. He's going to get player of the month. Like his performances warrant that, but that's going to be another interesting one. And I actually think Arteta will end up playing in midfield longer term. But that will be something that will be kind of filtered into him. And then you look at the goalkeeping situation. Just say we did have to get someone in on loan. Could you see Nato getting released? But then we've got to bring a goalkeeper in. Could that be an option?
Yeah, because otherwise you're paying, even though it's whatever the structure is in the deal, we're still paying him away to sit his backside basically. And he's not like we're doing it, and he's actually our player per se. He's still blown. He's a loan. We don't actually, with all due respect, I'm saying these words, but he's not contractually obliged to the club to be the number two. He's just contractually obliged via loan.
Yeah.
And it's just like, seriously, we could put that money elsewhere and maybe even get a number two in, better than him, with all due respect, but a little bit less in terms of wages.
Where would you look? Potentially?
Now you're asking the questions. I don't know, but not Bournemouth or Chelsea for that matter, actually, thinking about it. Because
could we? Is the long term the Spanish guy again? Because there was a lot of talk about him.
Potentially, because I think that only broke down in the last minute because of fee between the club, because the club we were looking to buy from kept changing the fee apparently or whatever. But it's just like, if we can sort that out, that's more likely to be the case coming the summer. Yeah, that's like a few million quid. And as I say, in terms of actual wages as well, salary wise, that's a whole lot less than what probably Neto's we're paying for Neto.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's not he won't be cup tied.
No, well, that's the other thing, isn't it? Like that's the tragedy of that signing, wasn't it? That we brought a goalkeeper in that couldn't even play in the only competition that we actually really needed him in. So that kind of summed it up in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Like, as I say, literally 24 hours to us announcing that he played. I think it was a deadline day we announced that as well, didn't we? But he played the night before for Bournemouth. But surely, if he'd known and Bournemouth had known that we were interested, that would never have happened. So I think that was literally on the day itself. Oh, he played last night. He'll do.
I don't think he knew. I think it was one of them things that just
I think it was literally on the deadline day itself. He just got the heads up and he was like, okay. Yeah, sure. Because obviously he knew his time. Because obviously Bournemouth were getting Kepa on loan as well. He knew his time was limited in terms of minutes, so he probably thought he'd get a few minutes, not realising he was cup tied to full, along with the club. That he wasn't, and obviously in hindsight, he wasn't to know that obviously Arsenal get drawn against Manchester United, he weren't going to get even a glimpse of the FA Cup this year.
No. Tragedy. Absolute tragedy signing.
Again, I don't want to take fate, but it's not like Ray's going to get a fucking huge injury between now and then.
Exactly. We're going to move over to the women now.
Yeah.
And kind of review the last week. Another positive week. I know we spoke about the manager earlier on, which is obviously really good news and really positive news, and just gives us now some stability moving forwards. And it's been such a good reaction that our last two games, beating Crystal Palace 5-0 at the Emirates on Sunday. Then we went away to Brighton, I believe, in the League Cup quarter final last night.
In Crawley, yeah.
Yeah, which was quite a tight game in terms of the scoreline for the first 60 minutes. But once we got our first, like literally the floodgates opened, didn't they? And one of the players that kind of has been impressing me in terms of scoring goals, even like high pressure penalties, is Caldente. She's on a run, isn't she, at the moment in terms of scoring goals as well? And I know some of them have been penalties and all that, but she's turning to be that player who steps up for the big occasion. Like she got that penalty late on against Bayern Munich, didn't she? That was a big moment. And put it in the back of the net. What's been your thoughts for her season?
I think once things are, the ship has settled down and Jonas had gone and Rene's come in and steadied the ship, and everyone knew where they were. All the players knew where they stood basically from the get go. She's been allowed to then settle in, take her time, because obviously this is her first season since leaving Barca. So she's been managed correctly. She hasn't just been played every game in, game out, but that's played in the form that way. It's been gradual, a few minutes here, a few minutes there, and basically said to earn her way in, rightly so. Even if she is a 2-time Champions League winner, just say, and a World Cup winner, I'll say, because it's part of the World Cup winning team as well. But I'm impressed with her. Like, with her settling in, we're now getting to see back in before Christmas, and now just after this first week back, after Christmas break, what she can give to us, basically.
Yeah.
What she can offer. And she can, and again, she's her versatility as well. If things were to happen, she can play and have multiple positions as well. But yeah, and she's settled in. It seems when she's been scoring, obviously when she's scoring the big goals and the big moments. I mean, the big pressure for her this season was that Bayern Munich penalty before the Christmas break that confirmed us winning the group. It's like I know she's an experienced player and a big game player from Barca. However, to do that at your new club, knowing what the outcome would be one way or the other, after you just missed a pen in the WSL a few days prior, takes a big cojones and fair play to her. And as I say, she's kicked on since. I think that game in itself, she has really kicked on since. And these last first two games back, she's been brilliant basically, and can't fault her at all. Got nothing negative to say about her, really.
No, I think like you say, I think obviously she come in probably a really tricky time, didn't she? A lot of upheaval going on behind the scenes, especially with Jonas and that. But I think it's been quite interesting with the manager as she's coming in terms of what she's kind of turned to. I think Cooney Cross is another one. Do you know what I mean? Starting to play a lot more now, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she started the last two games, didn't she? And
having an impact in the game, proper impact.
And didn't she score last night as well?
Yeah, scored the third goal.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on her impact in the team as well?
I mean, Cooney Cross and her impact again. First season, we could see there was a player there, but again, clearly, it's just again like other players. We'll get into probably. The ex-manager is clearly holding them back because we're seeing different, not just play in terms of what they do on the pitch, but characters as well, and what they're doing how they walk about the pitch now, and how they have that more belief in what they're doing. And she's one of them. Like since he's been he's left or gone or whatever, she's another one that, again, now she's got more minutes and she's been utilised to her strengths instead of being held back. We're getting more out of her, and basically it's beneficial for the team. And this is the main positive I'm saying about Rene in terms of the manager is she's actually utilising the size of her squad. She's not just got a favoured 11 and that's it. She's more than happy to rotate and believe in whoever she's picking, and the players are feeding. All the players are feeding off that, which is always a positive because then we get the results and there's no drop off. And as I say, Cooney Cross, I'm happy to see her now actually getting involved and having more of a long-term impact in game to game, than just the occasional 5-10 minute spell between whenever she's on the pitch for.
Well, that's like you said, isn't it? We've got the options now, haven't we? And we're using them. Like we've got your Beth Meads. Do you know what I mean? We've got your Caitlin Falls. We've got your Russos. You've got your Caldentes. Do you know what I mean? Like these are serious players that can have serious impact within the team. And when you start sprinkling the ingredients, like still got Kim Little at the club, still pulling strings like she did in the Munich game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got your Cooney crosses coming in. There's so many options, isn't there? There's so many options, and you look at what she's done at the back with Catley.
Wilson,
another big decision, a massive decision,
yeah,
which has kind of paid off. Williamson's now coming back into the fold a lot more now after that long injury. There's a lot to be quite excited about, isn't it? Emily Fox now has been out here over a year. That was another good purchase, weren't it? In terms of bringing her in, and obviously Katie McCabe. You'll always get your 90 minutes and beyond with her.
You get your money first.
It makes you think, don't it? It does make you think, like how deep the problems must have been in there going into the back end of last season and the start of this season. Because we was quite worried, weren't we, in terms of even when he went, like what impact is this season going to have on them now? Because they've had a disastrous start. They've been absolutely battered in the Champions League. They've dropped so many points at home. I think there was about 2 or 3 games, weren't there? Where we
3 games at that point. Yeah, I think they've drawn to Man City, drawn for the first time ever. By the way, dropped points the first time ever, home or away to Everton.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we got battered by Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly. And then you looked at it and you're thinking, now they're going to get up for the rest of the season. But it's incredible, the game of football, isn't it? That you bring someone in, and it was actually the number 2. Probably he's got different kind of views and philosophies, but at the end of the day, she's not the main person. And the squad have taken to it like a breath of fresh air. And you sit there and think, like, this is not with her. We're having any impact of signing players. This is her being given that squad and what she's done with that squad.
No, exactly. And I think the main takeaway you can take from this is Russo. We all sat here when we signed Russo, buzzing like, wow, what. This is brilliant. This is a big competition for Stina. They're going to work with each other. This will be brilliant. We never got that from Russo in the first year. And even at the start of the season, we get the Russo we're seeing now, we weren't seeing. We're seeing from last season. Sorry. And since he's gone, Rene's put an arm around her clearly. And she's in the form of a lot. I think she's got 6 goals in 6 games. That's just in WSL, and that's not including the Champions League and what she's done. She's took the role as the main striker and run with it since Venice took charge. But the girls, as I say, the girls have took to her. As you say, she's got her own style, her own philosophy. They've took to her, and we're bearing the fruits of it. As I say, we've got 12, 13 games unbeaten now in all comps. 1 draw, all the rest are wins. And even that 1 draw, we sort of won. It was just a bit of bad luck at the end in that particular game against United. That's at that point, and that was early on in the interim reign of Rene. But I just remember while you were saying all that, when they announced Rene on Friday, I'll try and get it out if you don't mind. But they put a little video out when they announced to the girls on Friday that Rene was now the full-time head coach going forward. Then they gave a little speech, but is that about a minute and a half or so? 1 second, I've got to find it. Right, can't be fantastic, right? Media, that would probably be quicker. But just basically saying nothing's going to change. Same mentality, same training, everything. I'm not going to be different now just because I've got this full time. Here it is. 1 sec. You don't mind me sharing that, but that's all right.
No, go on.
All right, 1 sec. But my point is that it's the words that how her mannerism, basically, and just reaffirming that just because I'm now the full time doesn't mean now I've got full time. I'm just going to switch everything up and be an absolute see you next Tuesday like certain other people, so to say. But
I'm absolutely delighted to let you know that the best candidate and our new head coach is Rene Sleggers. Her modesty is killing her right now. I know she's dying in her skin right now, but I'm not forcing you to say anything, but speak.
I will say some words. I look forward to it. I want to thank everyone in this room for the last 3 months. We're not done. We want to move forward. We want to go to the next level, like we've been talking about with players and staff. I won't change. Now it's official, but I won't change as a person. So that's very important for everyone to know. We want to keep on doing the same things and just drive change, go to the next level, step by step, 1% every day. But I won't change, okay? Very excited, look forward to it.
Really delighted. Really delighted. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your breakfast.
Well, we have everyone in the room. Normally it's in the team meeting room. We sing for a play. Amanda's birthday today, so let's sing together. Happy birthday. Gratis på födelsedagen.
Nice.
Tack så mycket. Back to work.
Quality.
But again, I love that. The fact you reaffirmed nothing's going to change. I'm not going to change the person I am just because I'm now the full-time coach. So you reaffirmed it, and then after all that, back to work and off we go. That mentality.
I think it's important as well, isn't it, that the players are aware of that, because when you think of the job that she's done, and you think that she's done it on a basis where she's just a temporary manager in charge, that there is going to be kind of thought process, or what's she going to be like now? She's got the main job. But she doesn't need to change anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's on this run at the moment, but I guess the true test for her will be when she starts losing a few games. Do you know what I mean? Like, that test has not happened yet, and it will happen at some point. Do you know what I mean? And let's be honest, one of the greatest things about football is you learn more when you lose at times. So I'm sure them times will come, and there will be the times that will test her as well. But like, what she's done so far is really, really good, and I'm just hoping now that she can kind of see it through to the end of the season. Like she said, just take one day at a time, take up, look to make them little steps up to the next level. And I think the team's in a really good place. I am very surprised how we've kind of turned that around quite quickly. Like, I knew we had the players, I knew we had the ability, but
Confidence was so low, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, the confidence was so low. The morale was obviously so low. The fans I hadn't witnessed it in a women's game before, if I'm being totally honest. Like, the way it was coming into these first few games of the season, there was a lot of unrest, weren't there? You could tell even in the crowd, but they made the absolute correct decision. He had his time. He had some good success, but at the end of the day, he had lost the players.
He lost everything. He
lost everything.
Players, he lost the fans, everything.
And I honestly don't think the situation in the League Cup final last year helped him whatsoever either. And this be honest, Emma Hayes is a very clever woman. She knew what she was doing when she put that out there. There's a little seed in there, and let's be honest, there was probably players that have got they all sit in the dressing room and all that. You know what I mean? They might be saying she's got a point there. We don't know, do we? I think sometimes the way he reacted, the way he dealt with things, I think it was very tricky because he's participating in the ladies' game. I don't think you can behave like that on the sidelines at times, if I'm being totally honest. And I think sometimes he very much lost himself and didn't help himself. And I think at the end, I think everything happens for a reason. And that start of the season happened to kind of end that story.
Yeah, thankfully, actually, the club actually, even though it took a bit longer than some of us hoped for, they still did it. They still bit the bullet, took the risk as early on as the season as it was. And it hasn't backfired. And as we've been saying for the last 25, 30 odd minutes, that if anything, it's actually positive. It's actually done a positive for the club, not just for the short term, but in the long run, potentially. If this works, as I say, we're talking in jest about our unbeaten run under Rene so far, but we do know at some point hopefully not Sunday, but maybe Sunday against the champions or in the Champions League and the draws get made, or whenever at some point we will lose a game this season. It's how she takes it, but also how the players react as well at that same time. Because up to this point, they've not had that feeling yet under Rene, and neither has she. So it's going to be interesting, as you say, how they approach that afterwards in the next game and push forward. Because exactly. Emma Hayes was always when she did lose, it was she was a sore loser, but she would take it and then go, all right, we're going to batter the next team basically. It hurts for now, but next one we move on. it's a new opponent, we move.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's the key thing, isn't it? Moving forward, is that we do move, and we've got a big game Sunday, massive game. Obviously, champions away at Chelsea. This could be the statement that we could put down. This is a true test, isn't it? Sunday, but she's got the players there at the moment. She's got the tactics there at the moment. She's got the formation there at the moment. What do we need to do to beat Chelsea on Sunday?
1-1, by the way. Rangers just scored.
Whoa!
88th minute, literally. There's for listeners, I've got a monitor on. Button scored an own goal 20 minutes ago, but Rangers literally just scored, and it's been coming for the last 5 minutes. I'll say. So that's not good for United or the United meltdown side. So Gav, get your head at your backside tonight. I want a video tomorrow of meltdowns. But no, in terms of Sunday, going back to obviously being professional here, right? Just play us. Keep doing what we've done for the last 13 games under Rene. Potentially, and again, most of them games have been winnable games, with all due respect, but we still had to win them. But we have played Bayern Munich and Juventus respectively in the Champions League, so we've had to play tough, challenging games in this run as well. Just take little take some of them positives from them games, implement it into this. And I think just as a team, defenders won and attackers won, and just feed Russo the ball, because Russo is in the form of literally the form she's in. It's insane. I mean, for the fact that we are, was it 7 points away as going into this game? If we could win this, that could give them a bit of a rock. I don't think we will win the league. Don't get me wrong, because obviously Chelsea, and there's other games they'll go on to win, and it might. I think we've left. It might be too much to ask, but we can make it a bit closer, and then put that seed of doubt in for next season as well. And potentially, this could be a dress rehearsal yet again, by the way, for the League Cup final if both teams reach the final. So it's a good. Again, even now, it's a good little seed to plant into the Chelsea team and their fan base, and even Sonia, the manager, that we're not going to turn up and roll over. It's not going to be an easy game like it was at the start of the season. We're coming. We're not back, but we are coming back, and we are going to be the team that pushes you now going forward. Because we've got the team to do it, and the confidence is there. The players are morale's high. Team, we're not just relying on Russo. I'm saying get to Russo because he's our striker, but we're getting goals all over the place. So as long as we turn up and we don't bring the right socks. Who was the kit man for this game? Bring the right fucking socks. I do not want to repeat it last year. We had to go to the fucking mega store and buy Chelsea socks for crying out loud. I do not want that. But as long as we approach the game correctly in every aspect, I think we could rock the boat at the bridge. There's like 35,000 tickets sold for that game already, so it'll be pretty full, that place.
Yeah, it'll be a packed house, won't it? And just looking ahead to that, obviously Manchester City, we got into the semi-final of the League Cup. That is quite ironic, isn't it? That would be played on the same week that Arsenal play Man City in the men's at the Emirates.
Bloody hell, yeah.
And I think it's potentially going to be the same night, and it'll be a big old night. Actually, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
On the 2nd of February, we could play Man City on the 2nd as well, both the men and women. So the women play Man City at City in the afternoon, 2-1 Man United. Fuckers. Fucking Jamie bastards. And then in the afternoon, after the men play Man City. So it must be like a few days later again. I'll have a look now, actually.
I think it'll be the same night when Arsenal play Newcastle in the semi-final second leg.
It might be. I'll have a look now.
There's 2 semi-finals in one night for you.
Oh, I'm going to have a headache, aren't I, on that night? To be confirmed. It's not been confirmed on the Arsenal website yet. But no, hang on. Whoa. Oh, yeah. They have not updated the Arsenal website yet, but that will be confirmed tomorrow, probably. in terms of
That's
data.
an old choke from Rosie tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, no, leave them to the bottlers, bastards, idiots.
No, I
Guys.
like the bottler.
Yeah, go on. Back to our girls.
Yeah.
We are professional, by the way.
Pretty much summing up, obviously, the girls for this week. Last part of the night, just going to look at the Wolves game for Saturday.
Yeah.
For me, I want to see Waneri back in the team on Saturday. I think he deserves a start after what he did at Brighton. Come on last night, a really good cameo role, 30 minutes. Yeah. Big game Saturday. Big game. As I said already, I think it's going to be quite interesting, the Cunha situation. If he plays, then I think you'll see that potentially we're probably not that far down the road with him. If he doesn't play, then I think a lot of questions are starting to be asked.
Yeah.
And I think if he doesn't play, I think we can kind of get right amongst them. Do you see us winning on Saturday? I think we're a better team away from home. Teams have to come out more.
I just think that in terms of in general, because of the opponent we've got, even though we're away to Wolves, I think it's a 3 o'clock kickoff as well. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll win with a clean sheet. I believe 2-0, 3-0, something like that. It'd be a comfortable 2 or 3. With all due respect, and with Cunha playing or not, I watched Chelsea Wolves on Monday. And there's just nothing from Wolves. They scored against, with all due respect to Wolves, they scored against the run of play when they did. And then from open play, there was nothing. They were offering nothing on the offensive against Chelsea. And that's why, again, Mateos is losing his mind, because unless he was trying to do something, nothing was happening. And I think that's probably why he had the hissy fit that he did. And the kickoff. And that's why the manager's come out and said, well, he does it again, that's it. If it's true that we're being told that his head has been turned since Arsenal reached out and said that we're interested, would they want to play a play that wants to play against your opponent going forward as much as they need the points? Do they honestly believe, with how things are at Wolves, do they honestly believe that they actually will get something from us with or without him? Do they just sort of bite the bullet and just maybe not sacrifice him, but as in just take him out the equation, take the heat out of that situation, and just focus on themselves and try and prove they can survive without him, maybe? Because either way, it's like they can't win, because if he plays, they get battered, he'll lose his mind, and then there's that whole debate again from the manager and how they approach that, and then it's just absolutely anti for us to then get the deal over the line between then and the deadline day. Sorry.
Absolutely, and I think we should win the game on Saturday. I don't think it's going to be one of them games where it's going to be really high scoring. As you said, I think maybe 2-0, 2-1. I just think that we definitely suit better away from home at the moment. Teams don't sit as low against us away from home. And I fancy us to. I fancy Odegaard score again. He scored a double over there like the other season. He scored on Wednesday, which was good, and I feel like that's the moment for him to start getting a few more goals for us. So Declan scored on Wednesday as well, so it was really good to see Declan and Martin Odegaard score. And Rice has some really good opportunities. He's got himself some really good situations, especially last night again with a header from that Waneri cross, but also Man United. Like, he's got to do better, if I'm being frankly honest. Them two headers, both of them should be goals. And there's one critical thing I'd say about Declan Rice at the moment is that he needs to score more goals for us, because he's got the ability to. He's shown that he can turn up for big games. So hopefully that gives him a lot of confidence as well. But I fancy an Odegaard and Havertz potentially Saturday. I think we have too much for him. I think we definitely have too much for him. The only worry is what we're playing at the back. And does he go back to Timber at centre back and Partey at right back? That's the only thing that concerns me right this moment in time.
I hope it doesn't. If anything, I'd say stick with the back four that we started with last night in terms of, and again, with all due respect, it is Wolves. You can test this out. Kivior and Gabriel. If Saliba's not ready yet, and only he will know. In terms of, and also the same with Rice in terms of he thinks he's ready to give a run out as well. I've personally to stick with if Miles is available, put Miles back at left back. Gabriel, Kivior, and then Timber.
Could he play Calafiori at centre back?
You could play Calafiori at centre back as well, but I'd rather that than playing Timber at centre back and putting Partey at right back. I'd rather have
Maybe that's what we need to do then, isn't it? Maybe with Calafiori needs to go at centre back. To be fair,
he was on the bench yesterday, so he's available.
Yeah. I think that's a no-brainer, to be honest with you, mate. I think I'd rather have Calafiori at the centre back than probably Kivior. But
the options are there. My point,
the options definitely there, and I totally agree with you. Square heads round holes. Please don't put Partey at right back and play Timber.
I'll cry. I'll actually cry.
Exactly. So it's something I don't want to see whatsoever. But I think potentially we might see Calafiori at centre back, which would be quite interesting. And it'd be good to see him play there. And he's been brought in the club that he can play centre back. So really, he should be an option. Ben White, when do we expect him back? He must be back pretty soon.
He's back 14 training since today, apparently. That's the reports going around on social media. So
a few weeks in.
Probably Man City. Probably from City onwards, depending on how the training goes, basically.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get him back on the bench at the very least. You know what I mean? Like it might be an option as well. Like when we go to Newcastle, he might be a potential option. But obviously, just want to say thank you very much for coming on like late notice tonight, Ryan.
You know, it's all good.
Been a good show. Been a good chat. Looking forward to Saturday. It's going to be a big game for us again. Can't afford to lose. And Liverpool got this Saturday. Thinking about it,
Ipswich at Anfield. So yeah, come on the Blues. Come on the tractor boys.
Come on the tractor boys. They got to do something after losing 6-0 the other day, ain't they?
Against City as well.
Absolute joke. And then City going to lose 4-2 to PSG last night after being 2-0 up, even better. But they'll scrape through the skin of their teeth and they'll get through.
We did last week, the bastards. Cause our fucking misery even more. But yeah, go on.
No, that's it. I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, dear.
Cool. All right. Well, obviously, thank you very much for coming on tonight. I'm thankful for everyone who's been watching and anyone who's kind of participated in the chats. We will be back on Saturday for the Wolves Arsenal watch along. Sure, Ryan will be starting that around 2:30.
2:30, give or take. Yeah, depending on how busy I am. I might even start a bit earlier just to get the build up going. But yeah, I'll be doing all that. You around for that? I'll try and find you a link if I can. So you can watch
potentially. I'll confirm it's more, but
I
hopefully. But we need to get that one sorted for Saturday. I was saying to Sarah, I can't think of the last away game we had on a Saturday at 3:00.
Been ages. It actually has been ages, to be honest. Of all the TV and
I can't think of it. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've had to watch beating Arsenal playing 3:00 on a Saturday and not on TV.
Yeah, because all other 3:00 this season have been at the Emirates.
Yeah.
First game of the season, Wolves, ironically, 3:00. Southampton, 3:00. Leicester at home, 3:00.
I really don't know, mate. Honestly, I'm really sitting there scratching my head thinking, when was the last away 3:00 performance we had? I'm thinking Leicester 2 years ago. It's one of the last ones I can remember.
Oh, bloody hell.
That's when we had that goal just out. Trossard's goal got just allowed.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Well, I just can't think of a 3:00 away game.
Well, there's nothing from last season either coming to mind either. That's recent. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, back on Saturday. But hopefully before then you all have a good rest of the evening and a good Friday, and we'll see you again on Saturday. Good night all.